Hey guys, what's going on? It's Hellspawn here, and I'm bringing you a technical episode of Feed the Beast. Today we will be focusing on the beginnings of the GregTech mod, or the GregTech mod. We'll be focusing on the beginnings of the Industrial Craft mod and how GregTech affects it. Well, we won't able to see this. Most of these here, like some of these here, are actually GregTech items, I think. But there's a lot of other GregTech stuff, and he changes the way things are working. He also changes the way, see, this is a GregTech here. He changes the way things work, and he changes the way, he changes how they work. So, our first thing is, this is the standard way of generating power. Geothermal generators feeding into power supplies. This is the thermal generator, and it's actually the stepped up version of the geothermal generator. It gives you 30k EU instead of 24k, or instead of 20k EU. And so, basically, it's a stepped up. It's a little bit slower though, in my opinion, because it seems like it doesn't charge up these as fast. I've got myself here a little setup. Really, you should only need this, the MFSU, if you're storing a ridiculous amount of data or power, and it's really only used for two main things you're using it for. There's other uses for it, and you'll use a lot of those later on. But even then, this is still not the best for like the mass fabricator. This is still not the best. Basically, today what I'm gonna show you, this is your second tier power supply. It outputs up to 128 EU per tick. This wire, I forget how much it conducts to. Conducts to something. In this box here, you have no menu on it, and it's simply a transformer. And basically, this side has 3 dots in a triangle, and this says that this is going down a step. It's going down a step. So this is a step down transformer because it's going from 128 EU per tick to 32 EU per tick. So 128 goes into this face here, and from every other face with a single dot is outputting 32 EU per tick. Well, it was going into the wire. For some reason, if you put a machine directly on this, it kind of gets wonky. Like, I'll show you this. No, I'll show you that one. So throw that there. Give myself some cobblestone. 0. Oh, I hate when I do that. Oh, stop that. Stop. Inventory. There. Good computer. 9. And for some reason, if you throw this right into there... Oh, and of course, I do not have my energy reader. I keep getting rid of it. And let's see. Where is the energy meter? Come on, EU meter, before it runs out. EU meter. So, this is the EU reader. And basically, I tell you how to do this. For some reason, maybe it doesn't need more than that, but it only pulls in 3 EU. So get rid of this, pick up all of this, and quite honestly, you don't want to have many of these to begin with anyway, because you're going to want to upgrade to these upgraded ones. They work much better. The only thing that sucks is this guy here. Costs 3 diamonds if you're on GregTech Hard. It's ridiculous. It shouldn't cost that much. It's not that useful, and you need a lot of materials to even get that. But I suppose it makes you work just a tiny bit longer for your stuff. So, the way EU works is this box holds 40,000, and it's going to send out a pulse of 32 EU. But the way EU works, it works similar to electricity, not exactly the same, being that as it travels through the wires, it degrades. So if we take our measurements here at this thing, it's going to be 25. Here, it is 25. Here, it's going to drop. It drops by 3 to 22. Right here, it drops by another 3. Then it'll drop by another 3, and so on and so forth for every block it goes. The only way to combat energy loss, unless you want to, because the next update is supposed to be, if you put higher voltage cable here, it'll cause an explosion. The best way to combat energy loss is you put a bat box. So, it is still 20 EU per tick here. You notice it actually went up. because it's actually not outputting as far. It takes into account the entirety of the wire. And is this still taking in? No. This is actually finished taking in. So if I was to throw these back in here, it's back down to 20. It's at 23. So this will output up to the max, but it's going to lose some immediately out of the box. It loses some, then it loses some again here, and then here, and then here. And then when it goes back into here, it's taking in 19 in. If I was to start running this guy here, it would start pulling out faster than it's taking in, though. Now, these things are funny because they can actually take in multiple faces. So if I was to have another bat box here, like if I was to connect this here, and then run it back over here to this other face. Oh, I don't want to do that. Oh, I ran out. Hold on, let me break this again. Put this back down. Now if I read it, it's actually taking in a lot more than it should be. It's taking in. That's a very interesting thing that's going on here. It's actually outputting higher from here to here than here. Very interesting. That should not actually be happening like that. It should be suffering a lot. It's coming out 90, 90, 90. So it's staying 90 the entire time. I suppose Greg Tech has changed it so that the more devices are connected to your wires, the more resistance it receives and the higher the energy loss. So if you were willing to make copper cables, you could actually extend a nice strong signal as far as you need it to go. Which is very interesting and something I just learned out right now. So basically, if you're going to have your devices, you want to make sure that, first of all, if you're going to be modifying anything concerning your voltages, you want to make sure you disconnect the wiring from your system. So that way when you start playing around with this, I'll show you an example. If I was to rotate this, come on, do it. Interesting. Why is this not blowing up? This should be blowing up right now. Very interesting. This should have exploded. I guess there's something weird going on between the things. Oh well, we'll get rid of this. There we go. It exploded on us. Now, I think Greg is going to fix this weird little glitchiness with the transformers in his next update. And I might need to tell him about that because it is a bit, it shouldn't have been that derpy. But in the next update, if I was to do this, it wouldn't just blow up the few blocks there. It would actually send a shockwave through my wiring into this guy, blow him up into these, all the wiring would blow up, and all of my machines would blow up. Although supposedly there is going to be a way, because I guess these machines are actually going to overload the system, and you might be able to get power outage and generate power that way, but at the cost of your machine. And you have to be even more careful when running with this guy because it would send out a maximum of 512 pulse. So basically, you've got to be careful what you're doing because the slightest mistake could actually blow up the entirety of your machines if you are not careful. And yeah, I'm gonna have to talk to someone about the weird. This should have actually caused an explosion. I suppose it doesn't transfer both directions though, so it's interesting. It should be transferring both directions no matter what you're doing. And that might be a bug or something that didn't get patched. And that's very interesting too, that the copper wire should not be allowed to transfer 90 EU per tick. It's only supposed to have a maximum current of 32. They might have changed that though. I admit I don't care much for Greg Tick. It changes some of the stuff to pointless grinding. And this Omni tool is pretty cool, but I think it's part of the Omni tool mat, and I think it's like pretty expensive. So basically, you guys want to be careful of your wiring. You want to make sure that you're using the proper kind of wiring for the proper kind of situation. After next update, you're probably going to have to change out the fiber wire, because it might become more dangerous to use it, and it might end up blowing your stuff, at least from what I've heard. So you might have to update your wiring. I would do it now just to be safe. I mean, honestly, it doesn't matter what wiring you use, you're still going to get full output from these guys. So basically, I might have been a bit confusing there. I'm sorry if I was. Let's see, pop that off. It doesn't work. Just break it then. These things are cool. They're called liquid ducts. They actually run a lot better than the Buildcraft pipes, and I will show you those in the Buildcraft episode. And the one last thing I wanted to show you guys is the electric motor. No. If it's still in here. Let me see if it's still in here. It might not be. They just updated the mod pack. Now here we go. Electrical engine. That's called the electrical engine. And what this guy does is he actually converts. I'll show you this here. Oop. Let me get some power. And this is the redstone energy conduit. It's a bit expensive, but it's a lot more convenient and easier to work with than Buildcraft pipes. So if I do this. So if I wanted to do electrical engines, I would do the one here, one here, one here. And what I have to do is do these, then Omni wrench these guys, and then these guys need a redstone signal to function. So basically, you just throw a lever. Let me get rid of that on some blocks. So block, lever. There's easier ways to do this. Like I could just have it like this. And now it'll take energy out. And then you just run it to whatever your build stuff is. So that's weird. Why is this not working? This one should be working. I think something messed up with it. My Omni tool. I threw it away again. Hit it. Oh wait. Hammer. HMMER. The Buildcraft stuff might break, so you just hit it with the. No, why is it not working? That one should be working. Let me break it and replace it. Oh, wait. Lever, that's why. So there. Now it's producing electricity. And you can upgrade these guys to produce a bunch more electricity, and it converts it right to Minecraft joules. So with that, I will end this episode. The next episode will be either about Buildcraft power, or Buildcraft and industrial thermal expansion power, or it'll be about red power, which I might have to look more into the red power because I really don't know much about it. And so basically, to recap what I'm recapping today, the Bat Box is a Tier 1 energy supply. The MFE is a Tier 2 energy supply. The MFSU is a Tier 3 energy supply. Let me throw another Geo guy here. Most of your devices are going to be Tier 1. Some of your devices will be Tier 2, some of your devices will be Tier 3, and there's a couple of them that are Tier 4 and 5. Technically, we can just consider it 4, because there's too small. If you connect Tier 2 to Tier 1, Tier 1 will always explode. So what I'm going to do is, no, not that. Run some fiber cable out here, and compressor, explode. Electric furnace, explode. Oh, stop that. Get rid of all this stuff. Let's see, this guy. Explode. Oh wait, no. The centrifuge. Oh. There it went. Oh, it exploded huge too. Induction furnace. Can it explode on me? It might not be exploding. I might need a redstone current to make that one explode. Let me see real quick. I might not be using power because it doesn't. Alright, there we go. No, it can actually take. It could take 128 EU per tick in. That's good to know. Yeah, 128. So it can take 128. So these singularity compressor. Nope. Centrifuge extractor, no. That's interesting. The induction furnace can take 128. I don't think that was intended to do that. Digital centrifuge. No, and it gives out a huge explosion too. I'll have to fill back in this pit I blew open. So yeah, basically your Tier 1 devices will explode if put on Tier 2. Tier 2 devices will explode if put on Tier 3. And basically you just gotta read what it says in the NEI screen. It'll tell you exactly what it can take in. So like this, it doesn't show on these. For some reason it shows on the GregTech guy. I'm showing the GregTech ones. Fusion reactor, this is crazy. The lightning rod will put out 812. The GregTech computer is 32 in max. This is 128 in max. 512 in max. 248. 248. So it's 512, 128. Then it's 248, and then it's going to be. I have no idea what that is. It's so high for that. And then it's going to be 8192. Yeah, so most of your stuff is going to be 32. The only thing is the industrial electrolyzer, the industrial grinder, the industrial blast furnace, and the vacuum freezer. So yeah, most of these are going to be. This is an example of how explosives it can be. Now imagine when they change the way it runs over. Oh, it blew up my bat box. That's unfortunate. When they change the way machines explode, all of those machines will be gone. And then, like I said, just have to change these over to that, and I lost my power supply, so they turned off. So basically that's it for today, guys. Next time I'll probably be doing MJs, and those are a bit easier to work with, which is why I'm actually not been using any industrial craft stuff in my latest server I'm playing on. So until then, guys, I'll see you later. Hope this helped. Leave any questions in the description, or in the description. Leave any questions in the comment below, and I will answer them for you guys. So until then, have fun, take care, and I hope you learned something today. Peace.